This is the Football Analysis. Hi, and welcome to this platform. Here we discuss a lot of relevant football news and talk about the matches that's about to transpire for the weekend ahead. And also, we look at, of course, the reviews and previews of all matches and pressing matters in the game. Hi, Francis. It's us now who have had a smooth sailing again amongst other teams in the first two games of the English Premier League. You take a good look at the Arsenal setup. Massive recruitment, solid bench. They seem to be playing some exciting football, but they began like that last season, and they're showing glimpses this season. Also, leg straight on the accelerator, on the pedal, making sure they go in and win. It's against Fulham. In a side that won against Everton, a morale booster up against Arsenal, and Arsenal, they have had a smooth sailing, at the early part of the season. Will it be a done deal against Fulham?
Well, Abeko, I think that it's not going to be a done deal for Arsenal. I think that Arsenal are kind of finding it very difficult this time around because when you compare the current form of Arsenal to that of last season, at the same time last season, I think that Arsenal were playing better than than what they are doing this season because last season I remember they played their first game against Crystal Palace and it was 2-0, and the second game was 4-2 for Arsenal, and so they had scored 6 goals in their two games, and so you realize that the Real Arsenal had picked up a very nice form and they were really playing well, a very convincing game. But looking at their form currently, I think that Arsenal are still struggling to get the form that they want to get because see, they don't have Gabriel Jesus there. They're missing quite a number of players because even their left back, even the left back of Arsenal, is going to be a little bit difficult for them because I think that the Julian Timbers that they went to buy, that they thought that he could be a better player for the left back position, is now injured, and then Tomiyasu, who came to replace him, is also red carded, and so he's going to miss about 3 matches continuously. And so you're looking at this and looking at what they're going to do. I think Zinchenko can play the same position, but you see, bringing a different player to mix up with an already existing team, he's going to be find it a little bit difficult to integrate. But I think with time, Zinchenko can also, because we know the performance of Zinchenko, he can do well. But Abeku, in total, I think that Arsenal, I find it difficult, and so coming against Fulham, it will be a very difficult game for Arsenal. I'm not sure it will be an easy game. They are going to win. To me, I know they're going to win. I think that it will be difficult for them because Fulham are also struggling. Fulham are struggling. In their first game, they went to beat Everton. I think they went to beat Everton by 1-0 away. And so one might think that was a very convincing, victory, but that wasn't the true reflection of the game. Everton really played well, just that they weren't lucky, and so Fulham got the goal, and then they went away with it. But their second game, they had it very difficult. Fulham had it very difficult, and so they couldn't win their second game. They lost at home, and so looking at what they did in their second game, and then their first game, you realize that they couldn't get a lot of chances up front because of the absence of Mitrovic. You see, in their first game, Mitrovic was a threat to Everton, but this time, their second game, they couldn't get Mitrovic because they have sold him to Saudi Arabia, and so the absence of Mitrovic is going to cause a very huge problem to Fulham in this season because they actually find it very difficult finding the ball at the back of the net, and this time they selling Mitrovic. In addition to this, I think it's going to be a very big blow to Fulham, and so in the absence of Fulham, the absence of Mitrovic is going to be a big problem for Fulham. And looking at their age too, the Fulham players are quite aged. They are very, old players. Some are, even the youngest are even 27, 28. Some are 35. You talk of Willian and some players. They are aged. And so looking at their age, and the average age is 28.1. So realize that they are aged. And so a team like this coming to face an Arsenal team, I mean, a very brisk, I mean, young players like Odegaard, like Nketiah, I mean, young players, and the average age of Arsenal, I think, is around 23, 24.5 or so. And so you're looking at this, you realize that yes, Arsenal relatively have a very, I mean, young team as compared to Fulham. And so the kind of game that Arsenal can give to Fulham will be tougher to me. I think that Arsenal can give Fulham a very tough game just because of, I mean, the age differences. And so the athletic side is going to be coming from Arsenal. But I think that well, Arsenal are so angry. I mean, they are hungry. Let me put it that way. They are hungry for more success and for more victories because people have realized that Arsenal have not started well, and they themselves have realized that they haven't started the season well, and so they want to prove to their supporters that they are still Arsenal and they can be trusted. And so I think they are still finding or trying to get a game that they would use to prove to the supporters that yes, Arsenal is still the Arsenal that we knew last season. You understand? And so the game is going to be a very tough game, but I think that Arsenal is going to get a win here because they are even going to play at Emirates Stadium. So to me, Abiku, looking at the stats and the previous games that Arsenal have played against Fulham last season, they won home and away against Fulham. I think it was 2-1 and then 3-0 for Arsenal home and away. And I don't remember the last time Arsenal lost against Fulham, even in London, in the FA Cup and in the other matches, because Fulham just qualified into the Premier League last season. And so in the FA Cup matches, I checked and I realized that no, Arsenal have won all the games that they have played against Fulham. Even in this within this 21st century from 2000 coming, they have won all the games. And so Fulham are not going to get it easy. They're going to really, really suffer against Arsenal this afternoon. But I think that it will be a very tight game. Very tight game. I wouldn't say that it will be an easy game for Arsenal. Maybe the result might be maybe 2-1 or maybe 2-0 because Arsenal are still finding it difficult because the strikers for Arsenal, as I earlier mentioned, Jesus is not around. And so in Nketiah, you can't trust in Nketiah that much. He's a very good player, but you can't trust him that much when it comes to, I mean, times that you'd want him to do wonders. I mean, Nketiah wouldn't show up. And so I think that Nketiah isn't that striker that you can trust him. You get it. And then Arsenal, I also find it difficult at the back because of the injuries and then some other cases. You know, Partey has even been pushed to right back. You realize that Arsenal are trying to, I mean, interchange things. I mean, uh, make some positional changes and all that. But Arteta must be careful with this one, with the positional changes. I think Arteta must be very careful because looking at what he's trying to do, he wants to emulate the style of Pep Guardiola. But see, the players of Arsenal are not like the players of Manchester City. Arsenal players are now picking form. They are now coming up. I mean, they play as a team. Individually, you can see Arsenal players are very talented. I mean, overly talented as compared to that of Manchester City. And so when collectively they're playing, they'll give you the result that you want. They will give you the performance. But then individually, Arsenal players are not exceptional to me. That's what I would say. And so the kind of tactics that Arteta want to, I mean, integrate into the team, I think that he has to work on that because it is not going to be easy. The players are not up to that level that you can be changing their positions and all that. He has to maintain their positions and, I mean, get the team, the core team that he wants, and then get the performance that he wants. I mean, when he gets to that level, he would know and then start making that change. I think this time he doesn't have to be doing these things with the team. So, Abeku, in all, I think Arsenal are going to win.
I mean, Oracle, for you, the headaches keeps piling. Let's start off from Mason Greenwood. The Manchester United earlier this week made a huge announcement. Mason Greenwood is stepping out of the Manchester United squad, agreed upon by the two parties, Greenwood and Manchester United, and going to look for his chances elsewhere. A good news for United, a good move. Does United have that authority to make that decision because the team plays under English football? So it's should have been a decision, you know, having the English FA taking part of that decision making because they from the United hierarchy they said they consider the fans and what they had to say and what effect it will have on the club. Now Greenwood is going to look for exploit somewhere, but of course he is always going to sleep with his girlfriend and their new kid in the same room or under the same roof. What did United do wrong in this decision? And it's against Nottingham Forest. Do United already have the players who can play better than Greenwood? I mean, you've raised a lot. You don't want to even talk about Anthony, but would this weekend look bright for Manchester United?
Kweku, we have all been waiting for Manchester United's response ever since all charges against Mason Greenwood were dropped, you know. And then the club decided to launch their own investigations into this whole matter. So since then, we have been, anticipating what really will be the outcome of this investigation and all that. Mason Greenwood, we all know, is such a gifted and a talented young baller. But, some way, somehow, even on the field self, I personally think he lacked a bit of discipline. Off the field, nobody knew about him that much, so we couldn't say much about that. So up until last Monday, the club officially came to tell the whole world and ask the Manchester United fans that Mason Greenwood will no longer play for the club again, and that they have agreed mutually, for both parties to part ways, and there's nothing we can do about it. But what actually baffles me a bit in this whole thing is the statement put out there by Richard Arnold. Some part of the statement stated that um, the materials that were posted online did not provide a full picture, and that Mason Greenwood did not commit such offense in respect to which he was originally charged. I personally don't understand this part of the statement because if to say Mason did not commit all of these they are talking about he did, why not accept him back into the squad? But I hope they have taken the best decision. I personally would have wanted Mason Greenwood to be back into this Manchester United squad, but then there is nothing we can do about it right now. Prior to this Manchester United announcing his departure, there were a lot of rumors out there that he was going to come back. Some were saying he wasn't going to come back, and then Rahel Riley, a very influential um, figure in the United Kingdom, she's a co-host of the Countdown show, tweeted that if Mason Greenwood should be back into this Manchester United squad, she was never going to, support Manchester United again. Goldbridge and all of these, Manchester United fans with huge fan base worldwide use their pages and their platforms to criticize this young lad who had actually accepted the fact that he made a mistake, which actually led to his the post on his wife's social media handle. We needed to have given this guy a break. I just hope this whole energy they channeled into this Mason Greenwood issue, they use this same energy to, criticize the Greenwood, and then for them to, sell the club for all of us to be okay. You know. And so quickly with this Mason Greenwood issue, I think we should try and then move on from it, and then we'll see the way forward. But Kweku, with our game against Nottingham Forest, tactically, I don't really understand what Eric Ten Hag is aiming to. I don't really see what Eric Ten Hag is trying to achieve with his tactics this season. Unless I watch 2 or 3 games more to actually understand what Eric Ten Hag really wants to do with his this season, with the team this season. Because as it stands right now, I'm lost. with Luke Shaw injured and then missing Mount injured, I think he's going to call on Diogo Dalot and then Christian Eriksen to um, replace Luke Shaw and then Mason Mount respectfully. And I just hope we get all 3 points against Nottingham. I know it is not going to be an easy match though, but we just have to go all out and then get a 3 point. Tactically, I would love to reserve my comment for now until I watch about 5 games before I would be able to comment on this this whole Manchester United thing. So yeah.
Now, Obra Kofi, let's talk about Madrid. Interesting. I start off with you because for Madrid, it's what Carlos seemed to want to do. And this weekend will be crucial for him, especially in terms of numbers and what it represents. But first, before we even talk about numbers, it's about the midfield diamond that he's rehearsing. You talk about Jude Bellingham moving up front a lot, but Carlo has said that he loves the diamond system, which he believes can help him out. So a mix of Kamavinga, Fedi, Bellingham himself, and of course, a mix of Valverde in there to augment the whole midfield and what he wants to do. It seemed to be working. The magic seemed to be working, and his record still stands at 108 wins, so 22 draws and 23 defeats. And he's ahead of only the likes of Miguel Nunes and Zidane, or Miguel 424, and for Zidane is 183. Nothing strange happening in Madrid's force. Are they going to continue with this diamond trick? And it seems to be fetching them the result. What's your take on that? And for FC Barcelona, I mean, it's about the transfer of João Cancelo, and Cancelo need to come in and do the magic, but every time it's a bit of how the whole thing is done for Barcelona. Xavi again needs to grind the results over the weekend. Is there a straight move into getting the result on Sunday, or it's still early days for Barcelona in terms of they got 2 goals over week 2. This is week 3. What's your take on that?
Thank you, Abiku. I perfectly understand what Carlo is trying to do with the current Real Madrid setup. It's a beautiful tactical discipline he's trying to inculcate in these young players, and Jude Bellingham is having a perfect run in terms of play and goal scoring at the moment. But I still hold that assertion that in terms of play, Real Madrid is yet to play against the bigger teams in La Liga. And so that will be the only way to test Carlos' system. The diamond system that he's playing just to give Bellingham that freedom to move around. In that system, he's playing more of a false nine to allow Vinicius and Rodrigo stay wide on the wings. But I still feel this system leaves spaces in the middle, and these top or tactically disciplined teams will exploit and make Real Madrid pay for it. Against Celta Vigo is going to be a tough one. Playing away from home will be a tough one, and I feel Real Madrid is yet to live up to expectation when it comes to tactical play. Barcelona, on the other hand, playing against Villarreal, who are really motivated at the moment. And I feel it will be a tricky game against Barcelona, who are still struggling in terms of goal scoring. There are players at the moment who are struggling to fit in the shoes of the likes of Rafinha and Dembele. But I understand that Xavi Hernandez is at the moment putting in mechanisms to get these players regain their confidence, especially a young, brilliant chap like Lamine Yamal and his colleagues in that department, Ansu Fati and Ferran Torres. I believe all pieces will fit perfectly for Xavi for this weekend, and it will be an interesting game between Barcelona and Villarreal.
Well, I mean, for me, it's about the fixture of the weekend. Liverpool up against Newcastle United. Big, huge game it is. And, for Liverpool, you could see they were getting themselves in tune for this fixture, especially from the backdrop of the match day one result. In match day three, I feel the feedback would then be a 4-3-3, a strong 4-3-3 formation up against Newcastle United. But for Liverpool, the guys are really now finding themselves in tune with McAllister's red card over 10, Szoboszlai in there trying to find his rhythm in the English Premier League, Cody Gakpo already having a nod to show what he can do, and it's just week 3. He has room to also go into the starting 11 to show what he can do. The most important trick is the trial, the front three got the goals for Liverpool. Mo Salah getting a goal, Diogo Jota scoring, as well as Luis Diaz, all finding the back of the net for Liverpool. And to play against the Bournemouth, who have a similar style in pressing, trying to relax on the counter, trying to relax and press on the counter, it's good. Have that rehearsal ahead of against a game against Newcastle United. But for Newcastle United, it was a big test against Manchester City. And I tell you what, he also gave them that rehearsed game going into a game against Liverpool this weekend. You look at the Newcastle stats, it wasn't that quite impressive. Even for Manchester City, they just got a goal with 4 shots on target. It's surprising, isn't it? It means that Newcastle really kept them in the fold. And I've spoken about the Newcastle setup. I've spoken about Sven Botsman, Fabian Schär, with the blend of experience from Kieran Trippier, Dan Burn, Bruno Guimaraes, solid guy in the midfield, and Sandro Tonali, a good guy he has. And Alexander Isak has found his rhythm. It will be quite an interesting game to observe for Liverpool. I mean, between Liverpool and Newcastle United. But Newcastle United had a good game against Manchester City. Only that they were unable to keep the City lads away from scoring. Now they seem to be playing the top fixtures. I mean, for Newcastle United, because it's about how they're able to do it. And if they go through this, it was quite impressive. They played Aston Villa, and Aston Villa also came to the party, but unfortunately, they beat them by 5-1. The first result of the week on August 12th. But going into the subsequent week, just in week 2, was Manchester City, and now they have to go against Liverpool. It will be a tall order, but I'm expecting an exciting game, a brilliant game. Over the weekend. It's at 3:30 on Sunday. We could always book that date down. It's Newcastle United playing home to Liverpool. Giant a fixture, isn't it? But let's wait a while longer to see the beauty of what that feeds us with. So that's for me, Liverpool. Newcastle United up against Liverpool. You look at the statistics, and to be excited at the St. James Park. My prediction, Oliver, Newcastle United. I tip Newcastle United because they are playing at their fortress, and they stand a huge advantage. And the Magpies know how to do this, and how. Let's see how that event pans out. But I'm for Newcastle.